Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It is our Saturday edition, or Friday edition. What the hell day is it? Yep, there we go. I'm back. Just kind of stroked out there a little bit, but I'm better now. But we're thrilled to have you here with us as we go through the Paranormal Portal, and thank you all for joining us, and thank you to those of you who continue to spread the word about the show. We have a bunch of fun to get through tonight. As always, 2 full hours. We're on the network, so we're going to do the commercial breaks if you're on YouTube. Just so you know, we're not taking breaks because we're lazy. We're taking breaks because we're keeping it all in sync. So we'll be diving through that. We're going to be getting to the news. And before I go any further, let me introduce my good friend, co-host, and the big toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing?
Doing good. So as I sit over here and snicker about NSYNC songs, it's your fault.
No, I have no cause in that. You cannot put that on my shoulders, man.
I just did.
There's no way I'm taking that. But
wow.
We are, of course, thrilled to be here. You good, Don?
I'm good. You ready to do this thing?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm ready, of course, but I wasn't quite ready. The clock kind of snuck away on me, so I was literally in a sprint in the last few minutes. Well, you were here, so
yeah, it was my fault actually. So
it was Don's fault.
It really was.
But we did get it all fired up and ready to go on time, which is a brilliant thing. I wasn't quite sure if we are going to make it right at the bell, but
that does happen.
But we did it. And before we go any further, just want to thank the sponsor of the Paranormal Portal. Of course, I'm talking about Cryptid Coin, ladies and gentlemen, a new cryptocurrency whose heart is at the cryptid research, in that they are holding coinage in trust of this opportunity. And as the coins perform, that trust will be used to generate grants to research teams around the world. So if you're in cryptid research, you may very well qualify for a grant from Cryptid Coin. And so you can learn more about either investing in the cryptid community or in seeing if you or your team may qualify for a grant, a research grant, to push your research to the next level. So you can find out both by heading over to cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. .io. That's where you found more. It's Cryptid Week. Go.
There you go. You caught up. All right.
I sometimes catch up, Don. It does happen. But anyway, special thanks to Cryptid Coin for sponsoring the Paranormal Portal. And so, all right, folks, I think we're kind of underway here now. I don't know if I've forgotten anything else, but it'll come to me in time. I am sure of that. But I think we'll start off with some of the news.
Done news.
But first piece of the news, before I actually launch the news.
Sweet.
I wanted to take a moment and let you guys know, coming up this September, folks, there's a hell of an event happening in Vernal, Utah, right near Skinwalker Ranch. And it is, of course, called Phenomicon. And Don and I are going to be there. Phenomicon. And this is a really cool conference coming up. It's September 8th through the 11th.
I have them off track finally.
Yeah, we'll get you back. But it's September 8th through the 11th in Vernal, Utah, and there's just a spectacular guest list of speakers and people coming to present. And we'll scroll. If you're on YouTube, you can see this with us. But speakers like Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Russell Accord of Expedition Bigfoot will be there. James Vieira of Giant Research from, was he on the History Channel, wasn't he?
Yeah. History Channel, yeah.
Yep. And Stacy Brown will be there. So many more. Bob Gimlin, Adam Davis will be there. Just a whole bunch. Ronnie LeBlanc, also from Expedition Bigfoot, and Dr. Maria Mayer will be there as well. So basically the cast of Expedition Bigfoot will be there, as well as more personalities, as you can see on your screen. It's just going to be packed full of fun. So pretty amazing. So check it out. Again, you can head over to phenomicon.net and learn more information about it. And they are looking for vendors too. If you're a vendor, you may want to consider coming over there and selling your wares. but it's going to be an epic event over there. And again, Don and I will be there, so we hope to see you guys there as well. Or else. Yeah. Or else what, Don? We'll get to the or else, yeah.
I'll
later.
find Mothman and stick him on you.
All right, so that'll be coming up in September. Just want to put the word out there. Keep you appraised of the situation. It's really a spectacular event. So we're really excited to be there, and we hope to see you there as well.
Now, also, this is the only event that we are scheduled for this year. So
far,
yeah. So far.
Yep.
We're not going to be doing that other one this year.
No, this is the only one we're doing so far. And quite frankly, it's incredibly expensive to make these rounds and get to these places and take in accommodations and stuff. So, it's certainly something we would love to do more of. And if another opportunity opens itself, we'll definitely do that. Definitely. And we'll let you know about that as well. So that's first off the bat. But now let's get to the regularly scheduled news right now. All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Mr. Brent Thomas. You can just call me Brent for short.
All right, Brent.
And my co-anchor, Mr. Longbeards here.
Yep.
He's hanging out with me, and we've got some articles pulled up to hopefully bring you a little bit of an education into the news, and or at least a few laughs. I don't know how it'll work out. But anyway, the first article up for discussion here on the Paranormal Portal News is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it's one of those visual things. It's I'm gonna have to take a clip here and put it over on the TFR chat for those that are at tfrlive.com, and I'll put it in there. It looks like nobody's there though. Literally nobody's there, but I'm gonna put the link in there anyway.
Sophia's there. She's always there for us.
Sophia's always
She's a
there.
Sweetheart.
But it is Meet, one of the world's weirdest looking birds. Look at that face.
Oh my! Looks like a plucked turkey.
Is that what they look like?
What?
It's a pigeon, apparently. It says an obscure breed of pigeon from Budapest is certainly one of the most peculiar birds you're likely to see.
Wow.
Known as the Budapest short-faced tumbler. What do you call a bird a tumbler for? That's not a good thing.
Well, they don't look like they fly.
It's related to the flat-faced crasher.
Flat-faced flopper.
Yeah. It says this bizarre ornithological specimen is something of an oddity due to its enormous bulbous eyes, strangely shaped head, and small pointed beak. At a glance, you might be forgiven for thinking this is nothing more than a digital manipulation or CGI character, but it in fact is the real deal. These birds really do exist. As its name suggests, it was a product of selective breeding in Budapest, Hungary. However, there are a number of other regional varieties with similar physical characteristics. This is what it lacks in looks, it makes up for in racing performance. The species is particularly well known for its extreme endurance, which helps it to win various pigeon racing events.
Wow.
Breeding them is quite the challenge, however, which makes them relatively rare. Well, there you go. If you're into weird birds, then there's a weird bird for you.
There you go.
It's not necessarily paranormal, but that's
not normal.
That's definitely not normal. That's a face only a mother could love. Yeah. Oh my God.
From afar.
That's I don't know that they don't ever get feathers though, right?
I don't know.
I mean, if it's flying, it must have feathers.
Have to have feathers, yeah.
Yeah, or is this what it looks? Is this what feathers look like on the thing?
Well, you could always turn on the video.
No, I can't.
Well, I'm just saying.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there's a fuzzy picture. It's like a Bigfoot picture.
Yeah, exactly.
The video there, but
quick, he's got shaky hands on that camera.
Yeah, quick, grab a bad camera. There's Bigfoot. Rub mayo on the lens, quick. All right. Well, that's the first news article up for grabs tonight. Not really paranormal, but definitely not normal. So let's go to the next one. Here's another visual one, and this is allegedly a river troll was photographed in Mississippi. I don't know.
A river troll.
That's what it says. I will I will say, look, it's April 1st, so I can't be held responsible for this, but
good point.
It says alleged river troll photographed in Mississippi. there it is, I guess. I think we've talked about this one before.
I know I've seen it before.
Yeah, this picture I think we've seen before. A family who lived on a houseboat once captured a strange image in the waters of coastal Mississippi. The image, which is very recently submitted to Lon Strickler's Phantoms and Monsters blog, shows what looks like a creature's head and eyes next to and reflecting on the water's surface. Yeah, it really does. You can see the eyes and the reflection of the eyes. That is creepy looking. While it's difficult to discern what the creature is, the image is certainly intriguing. The photograph was submitted to Strickler's blog by a user who went only by the name B. The sighting report occurred back in 2015. Maybe 25 yards from us, something bent down near the water, drinking, he wrote. I went and retrieved my binoculars and took a closer look. It was pinkish tan with bulging eyes, funny-looking ears, 2 arms, 2 legs, and what appeared to be horns coming out of the head. It had a short, round body. Hey, Don.
I'm sorry.
Will you turn this on, too? Sorry. Thank you, as long as you're there. From what I saw, I would swear it was like a troll. It was devil ugly. The sighting has since had a profound impact on the family, and I still own that property and the houseboats, but none of my grown kids will even go out there anymore, he said. So I will say we've seen this report before. I think we actually found it on Phantoms and Monsters.
Yeah, it might be true, yeah.
So this doesn't look like just an April Fool's thing, but I'm always wary of the date.
Right. Yeah, no, I remember seeing it a while ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely one that we've talked about, but very cool. That is a creepy picture. Yeah, very, very weird. So that's that one. River Troll in Mississippi, folks. Could they be out there? I think so. I'm more and more as I'm doing the show, Don, I don't think there's a limit on what's out there.
No.
I really don't.
It just gets weirder and weirder.
Right. Exactly. All right, here's the next one up. This one's, let me just make sure it's really long. It is really long, so I won't read the whole thing, but we'll just talk about, it's a new, the fossil record is again expanding, folks, which is one of the things I like to point out on the show a lot, because the fossil record is always being used as this authoritative baseline for everything. And quite honestly, the fossil record is not complete. That's my big contention. It's always being adjusted and changed and expanded as new things are found. So I don't think it deserves the place in this is what is and this is what isn't, because it's not there. So this is a new cat-like saber-toothed predator was discovered. This fearsome carnivore would have given even today's lions and tigers a run for their money.
Oh, my.
Although they are currently the greatest predators on land, it's likely that modern-day cats wouldn't have been a match for the newly discovered, that word.
Diego
Alloris van Valkenburgii. At around 42 million years, it's thought to be one of the first saber-toothed cat-like predators to have roamed the planet, and a formidable hunter capable of killing prey much larger than itself. None of our existing top predators possess a saber tooth, but throughout much of the history of wildcats, there have been saber-toothed forms. Indeed, that from 2.5 million years ago until as recently as 10,000 years ago, the iconic Smilodon fatalis, commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger, was on the prowl in California and other parts of North and South America. Although its main focus were the large, thick-skinned mammoths and woolly rhinos, early humans might have been at risk too. Yeah, you think? Yeah. I think anything that moved was at risk. Though this newly discovered animal was smaller than Smilodon, the saber-toothed adaptation means it was probably one of the first ever mammalian hypercarnivores, surviving almost exclusively on a diet of meat, a lifestyle followed by modern cats today. There you have it. A new expansion to the fossil record. See, it's not complete.
And I don't think it ever really will be.
Probably not, because, I mean, if you think about what constitutes the fossil record, it's just wherever somebody managed to make a hole and go, hey, what's that?
Right.
That doesn't look like a rock. So how much dirt is there? Well, there's a lot of dirt. And so there's a lot of things in that dirt that we haven't seen before. And there's a lot of things out of that dirt that we haven't seen before. Hence why we have the Paranormal Portal.
That's right. So we can bring it to you.
That's exactly right.
And then we can heckle the fossil record.
Then we can mock the fossil record.
Yeah.
because we know better. Ghosts don't leave fossils.
Nope. They leave ectoplasm.
That's right. And that doesn't fossilize real well, I don't think.
I don't know.
All right, the next one is from unexplained-mysteries.com. How will we know for sure that we found alien life? I'm going to guess because it's coming out of a flying saucer, maybe. Comes out of a starship that we know we didn't build. I'm just going on a limb here, but that's my first thing.
Just kind of spitballing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Detecting potential signs of alien life is one thing, but confirming it beyond any shadow of doubt is quite another. Boy, that's a profound statement.
It is. They love profound statements.
Mm-hmm. The confirmed detection of extraterrestrial life, thus proving once and for all that life on Earth was not a fluke. Did we not read this before? I think we might have, but if we're reading it again, damn it, would be one of the most important discoveries in the history of human civilization. Given the significance of such a find, however, it's important to know that for sure that when we think we found evidence of alien life, what we actually have done so, that we have actually done so, and that it cannot be explained in any other way. Yeah, we did read this one before. There's been several false alarms already, including the apparent detection of alien organisms in samples collected by the Viking lander on Mars, the alleged discovery of fossil organisms in a meteorite, and even the recent detection of phosphine gas in the atmosphere of Venus. Yeah, so it's just talking about scientific protocol, and we did read it before. I don't know how I managed to pull it up twice, but there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I didn't close it last time, but I don't think we're going to repeat it. So
I don't remember hearing it. That's okay.
Well,
you do shows without me. I mean, that's not surprising.
Yeah, that's true.
That I don't hear it.
That's true.
Don, shut up.
Well, to convince everyone, therefore, we need more than just a single piece of evidence, but instead multiple confirmed detections for which there could be no other explanation. Short of intelligent aliens landing on the White House lawn, the detection of alien organisms on Mars, for instance, would most likely gain the greatest amount of acceptance if it could be independently verified by multiple sources. That's what I remember about this, is that it basically said nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you remember it now?
Yeah, now I do. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Blah.
It's a great theoretical piece, but it really didn't say anything. All right, there you go. We'll have to look into better criteria in the future. Let me close Phenomicon here so you get that out of the way. Here's another one. Now, this one is kind of timely, as Don just showed me his new book tonight. Beautiful book, by the way. Very, very cool. But it has to do with mermaids. And this comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mermaids, beautiful enchantresses or harbingers of doom?
Harbingers of doom.
Okay. And it's really long, so we're going to go with that. I'll just read the top part of it. A recent test of a mermaid mummy in Japan has generated renewed interest in the phenomena. Did you hear about a mermaid mummy in Japan?
I did not.
Me either. We're going to have to look that up.
True.
A report that scientists have begun tests on a 300-year-old mermaid mummy to identify its origins has stimulated an interest in the existence of mermaids in Japanese folklore. Tales of the mermaids and their more dangerously seductive siren sisters are firmly entrenched in the cultural mysteries of many regions, and can be found in medieval art and contemporary popular literature the world over. In Japan, elements of belief and myth linked to the natural world have endured from prehistoric times as an important part of culture and tradition. But the mermaid, as imagined by the Western psyche, does not appear in these accounts. So, there's just too much of this I guess I could read it. Let me just see how we go. It says, in Japanese folklore, there's a human fish creature with a mouth of a monkey that lives in the sea called a ningyo, the word in Japanese composed of the characters for person and fish. An old Japanese belief was that eating the flesh of a ningyo could grant immortality. It is believed that one such creature appeared to Prince Shotoku at Lake Biwa, northeast of Kyoto. A semi-legendary figure, Prince Shotoku was revered for his many political and cultural innovations, most notably for encouraging the spread of Buddhism in Japan. The creature was once a fisherman who had trespassed to fish in the protected waters. As punishment, he had been transformed into a ningyo and, with his dying breaths, called upon the prince to absolve him of his crimes. The mermaid asked the prince to found a temple to display his horrible mummified body to remind people about the sanctity of life. Remains matching the description of the Ningyo can be found in the Tenshu Kyushu shrine in Fujinomiya, where it is cared for by Shinto priests. Accounts of mermaid appearances, although are rather rare in folktales, and the creatures, rather than being objects of mesmerizing beauty, are described as hideous portents of war or calamity. Well, there goes the Little Mermaid, right? The dried mermaid currently undergoing tests was allegedly caught in the Pacific Ocean off the Japanese island of Shikoku between 1736 and 1741 and is now kept in a temple in the city of Asakuchi. Examination of the mermaid has led researchers to believe it's a relic from the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, and it was common for yokai, spirits and entities, and living scary creatures to be displayed for audiences as entertainment in traveling shows similar to the freak shows in the U.S.
Can you say that again?
Which part?
Where were you?
Right here. The Edo period. It was common for the yokai.
The off the island of what?
I don't know where we are here.
Go up.
Up?
First, yeah, right. Up one more. There you go. Right there. That. What is that?
Shikoku?
Shikoku? I thought you said something else.
Oh.
Okay. All right, just checking.
That's what I think I said. I mean, I've been known to butcher words. I can brutalize words like nobody's business, but...
I can straight violate them.
Yeah. So, when did the mermaid become Japanese? Mermaids in Japan are no longer tiny clawed creatures with the torso of a monkey and the tail of a fish. It would seem that a mermaid, as known in the West, infiltrated Japan at the start of the 20th century. So there you go. They're testing a mermaid, though. That's pretty interesting. I wonder what's up with that. But we may never know.
Well, you know the mermaids in Harry Potter. Goblet of Fire.
Yeah,
that was the traditional Japanese mermaid.
Sure.
They had the monkey torsos with the weird heads and the tails.
Oh, those little grindylows. Yeah. The Grindylows. Yep. There you go. Let me see how we're doing for the time here. Okay, we got 3 minutes.
Sweet.
And we got one more article.
Wow,
Perfect.
There we go.
That's a correct landing right there, I'd say. All right, the last article for tonight's news has to do with Shackleton's ship, which was just discovered in Antarctica. And UnexplainedMysteries.com brings up the question, who owns Shackleton's ship and what will happen to it? How long is this one? Another long one. Great. Apparently,
you really pulls up some news today.
This is what happens when I'm just in a rush. The Endurance might have been found, but his future remains bound in a significant amount of red tape. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
I mean, really, come on. Tonight's federal budget will include more than $800 million over 10 years to provide a clear marker for Australia's scientific leadership in Antarctica. The funds will go towards drones and helicopters amid mounting, although somewhat exaggerated, concerns over Chinese activity in the region. The political assets in the polar region include more than expensive state-of-the-art toys. Earlier this month, one of the most famous shipwrecks in history, Sir Ernest Shackleton's Endurance, was discovered in the Weddell Sea, a part of Antarctica claimed by multiple nations. Oh, so who owns it? I don't know, but I imagine if we read this, we might at least see some of the claims. But I'll bet you that'll be tied up in court for a long time. So there you have it, folks. Even though you find a shipwreck, it may not still be yours. So I guess that's the takeaway, right, Don?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to conclude our news, folks. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled program.
Did it.
We did it. The news. Yay. All right. So there you have it, folks. That is the first segment of the show is just about over. We're going to be heading towards our first break. And when we come back, we got a lot more of the strange, weird stuff that hopefully you've come to love here on the portal. Again, thank you to all
and
of...
And if you don't, whatever.
If you don't like it, quit busting my chops. Yeah, don't bust our chops, huh? But we're going to get into more of it when we come back. However, there was one other thing, Don. What am I not remembering?
Today is our anniversary.
It is. Oh, it
5
is. Yeah.
years.
5 years that you've been on the show with me.
19, 20, 21. 5 years.
That you've been with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you've been on the air for 6. 5, 6. Yeah, that's right.
6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As of April.
Wow.
Yep, 16. I just opened that bottle of water. Oh, well.
There you go. That's all right. I got another one.
I have 2 open now.
Well, hope you're thirsty.
Gosh, yeah, I'm just going to...
But yeah, it's our anniversary, I guess, folks. So April is always a month of
Where's my
of
ring?
celebration. Yeah, right. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Fifth anniversary is give Dong a big friggin' ring.
You see that little plastic circle around the mouth
Yeah.
of your water bottle? That's your ring. With love,
That's
Don.
the only ring you're going to get.
With
Uranus.
love. There's the bell. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're in the second half hour of tonight's show as we are burning the night away. Thank you for joining us. And I don't know about you, Don, but I'm just feeling it. Are you feeling it?
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
You know what else I'm feeling?
What?
Feeling some shout-outs.
Shout-outs.
Yeah, so I see 15 Hearts is in here. Android Purity's in here. David Hedensheimer's here. Jem Quinn is in here. Jeffrey Dixon. J.G. Hartwell. Maggie M10. Monogard Nash. Matthew Learned is in here. Somebody just came in. Oh, man. They're killing me now. Who came in? Caroline Start came in. Ghost Magnet came in. Jeffrey Dixon. Where was I then? Okay, Matthew Learned, myself. Portal Mom's here. Portal Mom's here. She fixed her name, folks.
Yay!
Yay, welcome,
Good
Portal
job.
Mom.
Excellent.
Rachel gets it right, and Ramon is in here. So good to see you guys.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Did you get Carolyn Start?
I did. Yep.
Okay.
I got Carolyn. Yep, I did.
And J.G. Hartwell?
J.G. Hartwell.
Okay.
Got him, too.
I guess I'm just behind the 8 ball today. Nothing new there.
Sure. But anyway, yes. Oh, hi, Ruthie. Ruthie came in.
Oh, hi, Ruthie.
Good to see you, Miss Ruthie. Wonderful to see you all here. Thank you so much for coming in. And so now we're going to move to the paranormal goodness that we got lined up for you. First of all, we're going to be visiting the Money Made article we've been working through for several shows. And these are people reveal the mysterious experiences that still haunt them. And these have been pretty cool. Some of them are not exactly paranormal, but they're odd and weird. But a lot of them are, and they're really creepy. So this is put together by Melissa Budish from the 2021, June 30th, 2021 on moneymade.com. So we're on number 46, though. And we're moving through this. This is number 46. It's called Special Relativity. Don't you like that name?
Special Relativity? Was it written by Einstein?
No, I don't think
sure?
so. No, probably not.
Right.
Sometime when I was around 7 years old, my dad left for Guatemala because he was going back to live there, which made me sad. 2 summers later, I asked my mom if I could go visit him over there for his 30th birthday surprise. Well, she planned for me to be there for about a week, and upon arrival, I didn't see my dad anywhere at the airport. In fact, I didn't see him for the whole ride to his place, in which my other relatives who had picked me up kept stating that he was waiting at the house. When we got there, he wasn't at the house either. At this point, they said, oh, he's out practicing soccer with his friends. Wow, glad he could line up some time here for you. In fact, the entire week that I was there I didn't see my dad at all because they kept making excuses. I was so sad when I had to leave because I didn't get to see him once. And when returning to America, I told my mom how I didn't see my dad once when I was there. She called my dad, and he said that he wasn't expecting me, which made sense since it was a surprise. He told us that he was at his house the entire time, so I should have seen him. But the next thing he said changed everything.
Wow.
He went on to say that he lives only with his dog, Barlow, and that's what frightened me. The thing was, I saw a tombstone when I was there with nothing written on it. And when I asked my relatives what it was supposed to be, they said, your dad's dog, Barlow. He passed away a few months ago. When my mom tried contacting the relatives that I stayed with, they never picked up. So she told my dad to contact them and find out what the heck had happened. However, he said that his relatives hadn't lived with him since before he came to America all those years earlier. Since then, I've been wondering what happened because the people I stayed with won't respond to anyone. Sometimes I wonder if they were even my real relatives.
Wow.
Was
These are your other relatives, like in Coraline, the other mother,
right.
the other
Yeah,
father,
with
the other family.
The buttons for the eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was by Golden Infinite. That's creepy
Wow.
as hell.
Yeah, it is.
So the whole family maybe not have been the whole family.
May have not even been there, apparently. Holy crap. It was just a house full of stone tape.
Well, they picked her up from the airport,
Yeah,
though, right?
interactive. Yeah, exactly.
They did get her from the airport, so they knew she was coming. I don't know. Something doesn't make sense there. So there's some shenanigans afoot.
Shenanigans.
There's some shenanigans on that one, folks. Number 47, Men in Black.
Who's watching 2 shows at once?
What?
Maggie said, wait, you guys can watch 2 shows at once? Who's watching 2 shows at once? That's not allowed. You stay at the portal. You stay here with us.
You should only be portaling at this point, ladies and gentlemen.
Gosh, guys.
All right, let's go to Men in Black, number 47. When I was in grade school, I made friends with another boy that I will call Jeremy. He spoke in class.
I was going to do it if you weren't going to do it.
We actually became best buddies because I needed help with my math homework, and he was the only kid in our class who could do long division in his head.
Oh.
This was in first grade. Wow. Jeremy was not only the smartest kid I had ever met in my life, but also the smartest person. He skipped 3 grades and went from 2nd grade to 6th, yet he still remained at the top of his class. He always had an intense interest in nuclear physics, and he would talk online with professors and other adults about, well, I couldn't even understand what they were talking about, to be perfectly honest. Smart people stuff. So we continued to hang out up until I was in 7th grade, when he was already taking college-level courses, and he had his IQ tested during his junior year, and it was 165. Wow. That was the highest in our town's history, and he had a feature in the local paper. Okay, woo. Anyways, during his junior year, in my 7th grade year, during which we were both 12 years old, he took a class called ASR, or Advanced Scientific Research. This is when he really started to get serious about nuclear physics. He would spend hours each day talking with professors and scientists online. We barely hung out during this time, and he was so wrapped up in his research that he would rarely even come to school, and this is where it gets weird. One day, he invited me over, and we were playing baseball in his front yard when a nondescript black SUV pulled up next to his curb. 2 men in suits got out and began walking towards the house.
Uh-oh.
Our 12-year-old minds immediately thought, stranger danger, and we ran inside, locking the door, and the men walked up to the door and knocked. We were so scared, his mom went to the door, and one of the men revealed a badge and asked to be let in, saying he would like to speak to her about her son.
Hell no.
Yeah, absolutely no. The mom told them they can't come in, but she would be happy to speak to them on the porch. Me and Jeremy, being the nosy kids we were, wanted to listen in on the conversation, so we went up to his door and pressed our ears against it, and that is when one of the men came bursting into the house and told us to go to the basement and not listen to the conversation.
Ah, right.
Ooh. He said it wasn't any of our business. Well, we complied, and about 2 hours later, his mom called him out to the porch, and she then told me that it was probably time I went home, which was unusual. I ate dinner, stayed late there all the time, and when I walked outside to go home, Jeremy's mom was on the porch in tears, and Jeremy was talking to one of the men. And this is the last I ever saw of him.
Whoa.
The men told me to go home, and one of them pulled me aside and said it would be best if I kept this meeting a secret. I don't know why, but I listened to him. This is the first time I am revealing this story to anybody. The next day there was a for sale sign in front of Jeremy's house. Wow. Jeremy never showed up at school again, and his parents' cars were never in the driveway of his house. It was like he disappeared off the face of the earth, and I honestly have no clue what this was about, and it occurred about 15 to 20 years ago.
That's what happens when Jeremy speaks in class.
Yeah, that's why Jeremy should just shut the hell up. That was by throwaway 2149. That's really...
Yeah, crazy.
That's really creepy.
Hey, Maggie says she can't... Or no, it wasn't Maggie. Was it Maggie? No, it was Matagard. Says that she doesn't want to make a choice between us and Ken Gerhard.
Yeah, no, you should not choose Ken Gerhard over us. That's no way.
We like Ken.
We love Ken.
We've talked with him several times.
Ken is a friend of ours.
He is a friend of ours, but no, you can watch Ken later. Ken's usually not live. All right, we're live.
This is live.
This is not Memorex.
I think he's on with Lon Strickler tonight, as I recall.
Yeah. Oh, that's why.
They're doing the Phantoms and Monster
Review.
Review.
Show.
It's not easy though. The guy's so freaking busy.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've tried to line up several dates, and it's always fallen through. So, number 48, Gone with the Wind. It was 1978 or so.
Yeah, Android Priority says he was live on Lawns tonight. So.
Yeah. It was 1978 or so. I was in my college house making dinner. I yelled upstairs to one of my roommates that dinner was almost ready. She yelled back, "Okay, I'll be there in a minute." She never came down. Halfway through dinner, someone got annoyed and went up to get her, and turns out she was gone, like completely gone. nowhere to be found. But that wasn't even the weirdest part.
It gets weirder?
Yeah, apparently. There was nothing missing from her room, but no one's ever heard from her again.
What?
Just like that, she disappeared and became an official missing person. A year later, they found a skeleton in a nearby garage, but the authorities quickly ruled out the possibility that it could be her. Huh?
They found her in a garden.
Oh, garden. Garden, I said garage. Yeah, sorry. Garden. But they ruled out that it could be her. Her name was Bev Gold, and I still wonder to this day what on earth happened. Yeah, and just, compulsory missing people is not good. That is creepy. That's really creepy. Number 49, Into the Woods. When I was a young kid, my dad got me those cool 2-mile walkie-talkies so that we could talk whenever he drove near enough when working. I went to my grandma's house for Christmas and played with them. She had a huge patch of woods far behind her house and a big tree in the back. Well, come night, I'm in the back by myself thinking some kid stuff like what flavor of Jell-O Batman likes the most. In the middle of this important thought, my walkie-talkie suddenly goes off. Uh-oh. I didn't know I'd left it on. They started to talk, and what they said was utterly terrifying. Basically, they told me exactly what I looked like and what I was wearing. They said they were in the woods, and I wish I could describe how it seemed like those woods walked towards me when the feeling hit me. Sinking terror. I couldn't get far enough away. My parents got involved. They thought it was my uncle playing a prank, but we found out that he was long gone by this time. I've left out one part. The worst thing the stranger said, he told me to look in the tree next to me. And when I looked, there was a noose tied in it. It had definitely not been there earlier in the day, or we would have seen it instantly. Like the window of time for someone to be able to climb that tree and hang a noose with no one noticing was slim to none. I've received no answers about this situation, only a sense of dread and a few nightmares. Wow, that is creepy.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's really weird. Drive my car, number 50. I remember one particular moment when I was about 13 years old. I was 100% wide awake. I was taking the family dog out to pee like at 11 at night. My mom and brother had left earlier so he could practice driving, and then I see what appears to be my parents' car pulling up to the house. It had special lights on top that were only for that model car, and very few people own that model of car in my area. I think to myself, there's my brother and mom, so I go inside and look out the window, and sure enough, they're pulling in the driveway. I sit for a little while on my phone. After about 10 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, hey, where the heck are they? I look outside, and the car is gone. When they finally do get home, I asked if they came home earlier and then went back out again, and they said, no, we only just came home. Creepy stuff, man. I
just found the Reddit thread that you're reading from.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's an aggregate from that, yeah. That was by X Suck. I can't read it, but anyway, ZKX, yep. And that's the whole thread. We finally made it through it.
Bum, bum, bum,
bum, bum, bum. So there you have it. Some weird, mysterious, odd stuff. Disappearing people, few disappearing people, as it turned out. I think those are the weirdest ones.
People disappears.
You guys got extra ammo now for more high-profile guests with 10K followers. Yeah, no, I mean,
who else can we get?
I don't know. We've had a lot of really
a lot of people,
a lot of incredible people come on the show. Even when we were like 2K Andes, we were, we really didn't have a lot of numbers, but we I think the first big name that we got on the portal was Jim Bear King.
Yep.
And I was really impressed. It's a Bigfoot Outlaws. He and Kumbo kind of, did a lot to cut the Bigfoot stuff and make it popular in our modern media. They were really pretty great guys and still are. But Jim King came on the show and he was our first. And that was really cool. What?
Try to get Luis Elizondo.
Lou Elizondo? Yeah.
He's a member of the TTBSA, isn't he?
I don't know. I think he is. I think he's involved with Tom, whatever his
Yeah,
name
he's
is.
Ding Dong, yeah.
Yeah. DeLong, yeah.
That's
That's
what I
right.
said, DeLong.
No, I know. I just got it. I couldn't think of the last name, but when you said Ding Dong, it's like, oh yeah, DeLong. I'm so used to that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he might be an interesting guest, to be honest with you, but I'm just really so unhappy with the decisions that they made that I have a hard time giving them much thought. I don't know. It probably would be great though. I should probably look into doing that. And like always, folks, if you have an idea of someone you'd like to see on the show, drop an email.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah, see,
let me know.
And if you know somebody, that knows them, that we could,
Yeah, we could bounce off of that.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
it's the hardest part is just getting through to people.
Yeah.
That's the
Getting
problem.
past the gatekeepers
Yeah.
and the BS.
Everybody's got gatekeepers, and it always helps if you've got someone that knows the person, or
Right.
you get an inside man sort of thing.
Kind of like our good friend Wes, who knows like Travis Walton.
Oh yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, I should probably try reaching out to Travis again. I think I did a long time ago.
I've never been able to get anywhere near him.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Well, it's a tough one. Some of these people are really, really busy too. I don't mean to take that away from them.
That's true. Yeah.
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 Okay.
We realize this.
Here's another list that we've been working through, and this is from moneyawaits.com. So Money Made was another one.
Yeah.
Now it's Money Awaits.
Why you can't find these when you go to their regular sites? You got
No, I know. They're just
You
weird.
gotta know what backslash to put in there. Backslash weird stories.
Yep. So people share their unexplained stories of being in a place that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like the portal.
Like the portal. Portal's one of those places that maybe shouldn't exist, but we're damn glad it does.
Hey, look, Elise Goff is late.
Oh, is she?
Just got in.
Better late than never.
Well, Gigi holds the record on that one.
Oh well, there's we always love it when you guys can make it, but real life happens and we understand. It's just awesome you come in when you can or watch when you can. So on this Money Awaits article, we're on number 25. It says nothing to see here. Move along. Many years ago, me and two of my best friends decided to go for a day of mountain biking at Snowshoe in southern West Virginia. Now, this was way before the days of GPS, so we were kind of doing this by some half-remembered directions in an old map.
Best way to do it.
Yeah. The point is we got very lost.
And that's the point.
Yeah, that's the fun times right there. Sometime along the way, we ended up on this very tiny little town, and we figured we would ask for directions. And it appeared to be absolutely deserted, rather. And I'm talking not a single person to be seen anywhere.
Nice.
We parked the truck and split up looking for anyone we could find. And now this is around 9 to 10 a.m., so not exactly early, mind you. We went into the post office, nobody. We went into the only bar in town, which was unlocked, unattended, with music playing, but not a single person present. Wow. We went business to business and walked the streets, and after about 25 minutes, finally found one old guy who just seemed to appear out of nowhere in the middle of town, walking alone. The first question we asked him wasn't even for directions. It was, "Where is everyone?" To which he replied, "Well, I guess folks around here don't get up much until around noon." We asked him for directions to Snowshoe, and he pointed to the road we came in on and said to go that way about 10 miles and make a right, and you will find the interstate. Well, we left quickly, and we were all very uneasy about the whole thing. As we left, we were about 5 miles down the road and saw a lady dressed up in a state road uniform standing in the middle of a very long straightaway holding a stop sign. When we approached her, she turned the sign from slow to stop. We asked what was going on, and she stated that there was road construction ahead. We told her what had just happened. And she just kind of laughed and said these people in that town are kind of strange, but let it slide. So we started talking to her, waiting for a line of traffic to come by from the opposite direction. We actually ended up talking to her for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Kind of got lost in the conversation. Not one single vehicle ever approached from the other direction or behind us. And eventually she said, "Well, I guess it's clear now and y'all can go ahead." 45 minutes. She's just lonely. She just needed company.
Right.
And slowly turned the sign from stop to slow and motioned for us to go ahead. We went straight ahead, the only direction you could possibly go for the next 30-some odd miles, and didn't see any signs of construction, state road workers, or maintenance going on at all. She had no vehicle. We figured she was a flag woman dropped off by some crew up ahead. After the encounter within the town and this woman, we had enough and called it quits. We turned on the interstate as soon as we found it and headed north and home. Every single one of us still remembers this whole encounter in vivid detail to this day. Right. I asked my friend about it actually about 3 months ago and this at this wedding, and it still freaks him out to no end. That is weird, dude.
It is.
So is that some alternate reality, you know?
You never know.
Like a pocket dimension kind of thing.
At least it wasn't a Silent Hill.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that suck. But what would you do? You're in a town and nobody's there.
Well, you walk into the bar and there's music playing and you go
You
into
just
the
grab a
back room.
beer.
Yeah, you go in the back room and you see all these nurses going.
Yeah, they're just standing there respirating. Yeah, that's when you need to go quick.
Don't make any noise.
Leave quickly. No, that would be very, very strange.
Or you end up like I Am Legend.
Yeah, you're the last guy. Yeah, that's what it would feel like. Is like, did something happen while we were on this bike trip?
No doubt.
Did something go on that we didn't get the news?
The end of the world.
Right.
Yep.
But it would feel like that. I think that would be fascinating and yet
Scary sound.
absolutely terrifying. Yeah, because you just don't know. You don't know what's going on, or what is this all about?
I have one in my pocket, Maggie.
A whole town that doesn't get up till around noon.
That doesn't make sense.
Like,
and then one old guy says go this way, and then some rando out there with the stop slow sign.
Just in the middle of the road.
And she says those people in that town are weird. Yeah. For 45 minutes, she's freaking weird.
It would make me really, really go back to that conversation and just replay it over and over in my head.
What did I miss?
Yeah, what was really going on there? Because obviously something else was going on there. Now, it does stand to reason. So, folks, just consider this. In a situation like this, what if there are other intelligences with us? And now, I'm talking about extraterrestrials, of course.
Oh.
Now, what if...
You didn't mean like the neighbors.
No. Those are all different kind of intelligences. What I'm saying is like, what if there's a whole communities that they've kind of isolated themselves into, and when outsiders kind of appear, they just, bug out.
Right.
But then when the coast is clear, they're themselves, and they kind of come out. That's the kind of thing I'd be thinking of, is because, you go into the bar, all the doors are open, the music's on in the bar, and yet nobody's to be found anywhere in every business everywhere.
Right.
They bugged out. They saw you and bugged out. That's the only explanation that makes any sense. Why? That's the clincher. Why?
Good question.
So that's where my head goes.
What the hell is happening?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like
Brigadoon. They only awaken once every century.
Maybe, but their electricity still works.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Number 24. Now I want a T-Rex pancakes.
Oh.
My family has a cabin in Cook's Forest, Clarion, Pennsylvania. The cabin was built by my great-granddad and has expanded a bit over the years. It's a nice little nook at the bottom of a long dirt road off the main path down a nearby hill. That sounds like country directions right there.
Yep. Take that left at that old yield tree.
You'll see the gnarled oak, and then you hang a hidden right,
Yep.
and then you'll go about 3 yards. And
but don't worry, you might hit that old stump sitting right there in the middle of the road.
Stay on the right side, because there's a stump that kind of gets out and hits your rims. But there are a few other properties around, but most of them are up and off the dirt road. Are up and off on the dirt road. One is down the hill and only halfway down at that. It's not modern by any means. No internet, cell service. The TV still has dials, and you have to twist to get to watch a DVD. It's very rustic, and I love it. The property halfway down the hill is visible from the front of our cabin, which is where the kitchen window, parking, porch, and fire pit are. For as long as anyone can remember, it's been this abandoned lot that had what was once a cabin with a concrete basement. The cabin was built on a hill so that half the basement stuck out, but the remaining part was crumbling, and it was at the fork where you would ride our ATVs to get to the fire break. So even though it's creepy, it was a very common and familiar sight. One Memorial Day, which is when we opened the cabin after the winter, our family went to the cabin for the long weekend to spend time together. And everyone would usually get there in the early evening, and then we would all come together for my great-granddad's Dinosaur pancakes for breakfast.
Nice.
So I wake up expecting to smell pancakes and hear chatter from the older members of the family down in the kitchen. I think we've heard this one, right? You'll remember it, I'm sure, Don.
Probably.
But nothing. I assume I've gotten up too early and go downstairs to use the bathroom and then go back to sleep. Looking back, though, oh my God, we'll finish it on the other side, ladies and gentlemen. The break snuck up on us. We'll be right back. Don't go away. More of the portal coming up in just a couple minutes.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart.
those she's with, they're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force, it is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
This is Don.
All right.
Stop being creepy again. Maggie said that.
Oh.
Don's being creepy
Oh,
again.
yeah, because I was, yeah.
We're always creepy here in the portal. Don't you understand? Yes. All right, we are back. Sorry about the interruption there. The break absolutely snuck up on me. I wasn't ready at all, but we've been covering the story of these people that have this cabin, and it's a seasonal cabin for them. The granddad built it or whatever, and it's a family tradition on Memorial Day to get together, and in front of the cabin is this, this empty lot, scrubby lot and stuff. And so they woke up, and the kid woke up and is excited for the pancakes, the dinosaur pancakes that are also a tradition, and all he's hearing is discussion, so he's not sure what the hell's going on. So it says, so I wake up expecting to smell pancakes and hear chatter from the older members of the family down in the kitchen, but nothing. I assume I've gotten up too early and go downstairs to use the bathroom and then go back to sleep. Looking back, the whole upstairs was just mattresses with an aisle between them. I should have noticed that most of the beds were empty. I get downstairs and see all the adults outside, and I go out to say good morning and demand my T-Rex pancakes.
Nice.
I walk out and see all my family, adults in a kind of semicircle facing an older man and a woman I didn't recognize. And I assume this is some adult situation, so I go back inside and wake up my cousins, but not before looking at the clock on the microwave and seeing that it's about 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Wow. Now, I love the cabin. I doodled the cabin. I doodled the cabin itself, four-wheelers and the area around it for months leading up to Memorial Day weekend. I was usually up at dawn because I was so excited to just be there. Sleeping until 3 p.m. was not in any way normal. I wake my cousins up, and by the time they're all mosey downstairs, the adults are all back inside. Everyone is pretty silent, but then Great-Grandpa fires up the stove and gets us kids excited for dino cakes, and so all seems normal. I was there with one of my aunts and uncles, no parents, and my aunt is pretty close in age to me, and was for sure the cool aunt, so when I saw her pale as a sheet, I went to ask what's wrong. She took me outside and pointed at the aforementioned abandoned and crumbling property.
Right.
In its place was a sprawling cabin/mansion, parking area full of SUVs and the coolest looking four-wheelers my 13-year-old self had ever seen. Aunt tells me that the owners had come to say hi, the couple I saw earlier, and invited us over to hang out with their nieces and nephews as they were having a Memorial Day get-together just like us. Me, having zero thought besides awesome four-wheelers, I almost ran to the house, but my aunt caught me and rather forcefully reminded me of dino cakes, and I conceded and ran back inside to an atmosphere so thick with tension that even my undeveloped brain could detect it. The oldest of the adults were acting normal and playing around with us kids, but something was very off. I finally asked what was up, and my aunt bonked me on the head and asked if I had seen that massive cabin mansion last year, or the year before. We'd come to the cabin every few weeks until December. And did I see any construction? Well, no, but they invited us over, and they have cool four-wheelers. Aunt Beth, come on. A resounding no came from multiple family members, and made my emotional girl self almost flee and cry until my grampy, a 6'7" Hulk of a man, got down to my level and explained that he felt there was something weird going on. And he said the couple didn't act right, and I assumed that meant they were rude and that we should just keep to ourselves this weekend. I agreed, and we went all about our day, all adults keeping us occupied with activities, either inside or behind the cabin. We get ready for bed when I see my great-granddad, World War II vet, who had the only bedroom on the first floor, loading 3 shotguns, handing one off to my grampy and the other one to my uncle, cool aunt's husband. To my shock and awe, my Grammy pulls out a Glock from her purse, and I go to bed with images of my little Grammy taking down a bunch of bad guys with their shiny pistol. I wake up the next day to the smell of pancakes and the sound of adults chatting downstairs. I'm sad because today is when we have to pack up and leave, but things seem back to normal, so I'm very glad. I run downstairs, note the clock says 7:30, but ignore the weirdness and sit in front of a plate of dino cakes that I dig into. While asking my aunt what time we have to leave, we don't leave until tomorrow. Wait, what day is this? It's Saturday. We just got here last night. I notice just a bit of doubt in my aunt's eyes, and I know something is up. And I run outside. The abandoned lot is back to its decrepit state. I resolve to brush it off and enjoy my ATV riding and forget about everything pretty quickly. It wasn't until I got back to school and was called to the main office where they asked why I wasn't at school on Monday, and I told them that today was Monday. What are they talking about? No, it's Tuesday. And my absence was unexplained despite several calls to my parents. Woo, that's by Pumpkin Spice Whatever.
Whatever.
See, those dino cakes will just screw you all up.
That's right. You lost a whole day trying to figure out what the hell's going on next door.
Jesus.
Ah, mind your own business.
So again, that's another one of those situations. So if we break it down, let's look at it just like we can only assume this is a real story. I mean, we have to make an assumption. Either it's real or it's absolutely fake.
Right.
Let's assume it's real.
All right, it's real.
What's going on there, Don?
Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Well, we're on the air now.
Wow.
There we go.
Show just started again. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. So what's going on? Is that an extraterrestrial presence as well?
Yeah, that's interesting. Did it, or is it just another fine dimensional fold?
Sure.
So, who knows?
But did the family really think it was Saturday?
Ooh, Rachel says they were on Sealy.
What does that mean?
The fairy folk.
Oh, sure. The
Evil
glamour.
Fae, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, good point. What if it was fair folk, the Fae? What if it was? That's another. Well, and I'll tell you this, folks. I think that there's a correlation between the Fae and extraterrestrials. I think that there may be one and the same, but I'm not sure. I don't know that they're separate. That they may be it may be an appearance that they choose, and so they can appear to look like these Fae creatures, which go way back. Because there's so many stories, and one of which comes from Sasquatch Chronicles, and it's this guy was out and he saw this little short, diminutive creature, being like a little goblin thing, about 2 to 3 feet high, kind of green in color, and he saw it running, and it ran over to by like a telephone pole where this barrel-shaped thing was sitting. It jumped in the barrel, and the barrel shot off into the sky. Right. So is that an extraterrestrial that we assume might be a goblin or some of the Fae or something? Right. It's anybody's guess. But again, these are all just terms that we've been accustomed to using. We really don't know the nature of any of this stuff. But that's a good point. What if it is the Fae? That would be interesting. And the reason that I was thinking, extraterrestrial is because it seemed like they really wanted to engage the people that were there. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's as a point of studying them. What are these people like? What are they, if we just appear like them and put a property here and kind of screw with their heads, will they accept us? Will they engage us? And what can we learn from them? So that's where my head's at with these stories, that just like that. Maybe it is. I don't know. Just some food for thought. But a great story, even though we've covered that one before. That one really, really boggles my brain because, again, whatever stories we present to you, you have to make an assumption. You assume it's real or you assume it's not. If you assume it's not real, then it's easy because you just dismiss it. Oh, that's creative writing. Pretty good story, but oh well, wonder what the news says, or something. You just kind of discard those things. If it's real, there's something demonstrated that is absolutely phenomenal and amazing, and again, really demonstrates things are very fluid. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
There you go.
Number 23, the Spooky Cave. By my hometown, there was a hiking trail that people went up to very infrequently. It was along the side of the Niagara Escarpment, so it had some climbable cliffs and some very shallow caves that you could crawl around on. I went with some friends and was around 19 or 20, and we were crawling around and found a cave that went pretty deep. We'd never been in there or seen it before, so we pushed forward and decided to check it out, even though we had no flashlights, and this was when cell phones really didn't have a flashlight function. We stepped into the cave, and it was easily 20 to 30 degrees cooler than outside, and upon looking around with which light we had, we noticed it was really clean inside the cave, as in it didn't have a beer cans littered around everywhere like all the other small caves did. When we got in there, we got a really eerie feeling after being in there shortly, hearing weird and strange things, feeling like we were being touched, poked, and pulled and not having any way to figure out who was doing it because it was just too dark. We were just using lighters to see what was around us. We were convinced one of us was messing with the others, although any time we sparked a lighter, we were all decently far apart. We decided to hightail it out of there after only a few minutes, convinced to come back with flashlights. We came out to see that it was now dusk outside. When we entered, it was midday, and somehow we lost roughly 3 hours inside of this cave.
Wow.
We went back with flashlights the next week, but have never been able to find this cave again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow, that's pretty creepy. So, is it again dimensional? Is that a dimensional appearance? Could very well be.
No, it's just crazy. I mean, because we've been talking about, we just keep talking about these portals and pocket dimensions and folding space time and different dimensions and such, and the veils touching, and it's just incredible, But what really sucks is they went back and they couldn't find it.
Yeah,
that just sucks.
No, have you ever had that happen?
Oh, there's a lot of things I've lost that I couldn't find. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm not. I'm meaning like.
Yeah. So yeah, like. No, I guess not. I mean, because I'm Mr. Nothing ever happened like this in my life. No, I don't remember anything really like that. But I mean, like if I went outside and I put something down, I came back and it was gone, that'd be one thing, so those kind of things. But not something like, well, I went back, the next week and there was, this tree was missing or, whatever,
Well, I've had this experience. I've had not this very experience, but I've had an experience similar
type, yeah.
So what happened was it was in this area, of course, like so many weird things happen around this area, but it was in the real early spring. Just the snow had just melted and everything was still brown and kind of unremarkable except for the conifer trees. There's always green with the trees, but we went, it was an old friend and I went out on his side-by-side ATV vehicle, and we went up a logging road back behind, past his house, deeper into the mountains. And we were only a few minutes from his house, but I looked off on the right, and it's this logging road is going around all this mountain edge, and there's this valley that came down in one of them. But it was the way the sun was peeking through it. It was just really beautiful, and it was all beautifully green. Like it was way green, like there were plants all over the place, and it wasn't that brown, brand new snow melted area. It was like lush. And so I was like, wait a minute, stop. And so we stopped, and I got out and I went walking in there, and it was just this really cool area. And the snow melt stream was coming down. It was just really magical.
Right.
And then he came out and joined me, and we just kind of stood there and were like, this feels different. This place feels really different. This is really amazing. And so we were just blown away by it. And so We ended up leaving eventually and continuing our run and getting back and stuff. And the next day or two, he went out with another friend of ours, and he tried to find it. He said, "I can't find that place."
Wow.
And I was like, "What do you? It's just right up here. It was just not even really far from the house."
Right.
And so we both went out together, and again, we couldn't find that place. It was like it didn't exist. Everything was still brown.
It's crazy.
So it was a moment of seeing a place that didn't fit in with everything else, and it was just this really cool vibe, and then it was just gone. Right. So
wow.
Are these instances of places that appear and disappear? And it makes me wonder how much about our reality is absolutely fluid and dynamic. I mean, I believe it's pretty pliable, but maybe it's really a soup. Maybe it's not solid at all. Maybe it's just this, this cacophony of possibility.
Well, we talk about, then we get into quantum physics, because we talk about how, is this bottle really there if I'm not looking right at it? If I see it in my peripheral, it's not there. But when I'm interacting with it, then it's there.
Sure.
It's the whole, the slit experiment. It's not really there until you interact with it.
It only has a reality when you're interacting with it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So it could be places too that just something appears. It may just be, maybe it's supposed to, maybe it's just
Wouldn't it be just kind of
rhythm.
weird? You crack that third eye open and everything just disappears. Because everything is built around our perception, and if our perception, if it's built around the filters of our perception,
right?
Because we have our filters,
our ability to perceive it,
right?
Yeah.
So, and what we perceive and what we think we perceive, the filters, that say, okay, this is possible, but that's not. But you crack that third eye open, and all of a sudden everything goes away, and you're like, what the hell?
Either it goes away or it's all there. And you see everything.
Yeah, but then that would be like,
yeah,
everything, including all the spectrums.
Right.
Hearing everything, hearing all the spectrums.
Right.
You can see the ghost standing in the corner, and everybody else can see it too.
Yeah.
That would be not good. They'd get real crowded real quick.
I think it would be a crowded world all of a sudden.
They'd get real crowded real quick. Yep.
I think it's it's just amazing, these kind of stories. That's what they demonstrate, I guess, to me, is it's anything is possible. But I think this is where we're going to leave this article, and then we're going to, and I never did put it on screen. It's always just been you and me.
Well,
Don.
hey, it's just us anyhow.
It is just us anyhow.
The chubby chasers out there going, wow, check that out.
I guess we can read another one or two.
Head.
Yeah, the next one is pretty short, so we'll read a couple more because we only got about 8 minutes left of this break. So let's get back to it. Excuse me. Number 22, Spooky Ghost Store is the name of my new band.
Okay.
A music store seemed to just show up in my town, and I'd lived here for 3 years and never saw it. Went in, and the guy had one bass guitar in the store.
What?
Me being a bassist, I played it and fell in love, bought it, and then the next week when I was in town, the store was totally empty and looked like it hadn't been opened in a long time. Got a new bass out of it though, so I'm cool with it being a spooky ghost store.
Okay, so here we go again with the cave.
Yeah.
Basically it's the same thing.
Except
there was just nothing there in the first place. And
Right.
how odd is it going to be just one perfect bass? Did he just did he just sign a contract?
Right. Is it a Crossroads thing?
Yeah.
Is that his Crossroad demon?
By walking out the door with this one and only bass,
Yep.
you're mine.
You now have surrendered your soul.
Over a bass. Well, I could, if it was a nice one, I could probably get into it. But
Yeah, maybe. That was by Names Jeffrey, so.
not anymore. It's Bud. It's more like Robert Johnson.
Yeah, Crossroads, absolutely. Number 21, know your horror movie tropes. It could save your life.
Yeah, I bet.
Driving in rural areas in New England near the borders of Vermont and Massachusetts, so I'm not sure which one I was in it.
Jeez.
But it was long. It was late. Well, okay, so late it was actually early, and there was a fog, dense fog, like Silent Hill levels of fog. And I'm the guy who dies at the opening scene of the horror movie. I'm driving on back roads. First, my headlight just up and goes out. Can't use high beams because of the fog. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I haven't seen a house or town in a long time. Car starts making noise. Check the engine light comes on, so I pull over. Nothing much around. Field and fog and dark. I gamely look at the engine. I can fix electronics, but not engines. I tighten all the things that I know. Car won't start, so I'm in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, on the side of the road. Because of the natural rules of how things work, my cell phone has no service as well. So it's like one big cliche. But I'm not dumb enough to go wandering the roads right now, so I recline my seat and decide to take a nap for a couple of hours until the sun comes up.
Oh, boy.
I wake up and the sun's coming up and the fog is going away, and I'm on the main street of a tiny town, parked in front of what looks like a Bates Motel, houses everywhere, and it was the creepiest feeling. I was sure I was off in the woods. There was not a light on in any house all night, and there was a service station 50 yards up the road. Well, I walked up to it, talked to the guy who looked perfectly normal. He walked over to look at the car and asked me to try to start it, and it did. Turned over right away, and both headlights were working. I drove on, never got the name of the little village, so I couldn't find it on a map. I always felt like I was in this big setup for a horror movie, and it just didn't pan out. Yeah, that's it, dude. Don't go hiding in the graveyard.
We can drive it home with one headlight.
Yeah, well, you had both all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, you know,
All of a
I'd be
sudden,
getting
both
the hell out
headlights
of it
work.
with just one. I'm like,
Yeah.
zoom
That was
is
by-
50 yards down the road. It's just like every other cliche.
Yep.
My phone didn't work.
I know. It's just of everything that could go wrong, it all did go wrong.
Yeah.
That is the setup. That's
Wow.
how the stories start. That was by XIL Studio. All right, let's go to the next one. Can I read the next one? No, this is very long. I cannot read that in 4 minutes. I don't think. Can I?
I don't know. That's up to you.
All right, maybe he did get raptured. My good friend and I decided to take a trip up to the North Shore of Mass one spring and decided to and arrived at our motel late around 11 p.m. We were both all keyed up from driving for 8 hours and too much caffeine, so as soon as we checked in, we left the motel to find the closest beach. We found a little beach a few towns over and put our bare feet in the ocean, took a walk on the shoreline, took a bunch of pics, and just goofed around. The streets surrounding the shoreline were residential and all oddly still and quiet. As we were hanging at the beach for about an hour, we noticed this really thick fog rolling in. The beach had those older streetlights with yellowish-orangish bulbs, and it created this eerie effect. Everything had a kind of otherworldly golden glow. At that point, we started noticing what a weird visual effect the fog was having and started taking pics to capture it. The fog was so thick that with the camera flash, we could see these seemingly huge drops of mist-water vapor hanging in the air. The fog was insulating, and our voices seemed to carry only a foot or two before being absorbed by the mist. Suddenly, we see blue and red flashing lights, which were strikingly close before we noticed them. We got freaked out and started running back to our car and just took off. Although the beach was closed after dark, we probably wouldn't have gotten in any trouble, but our adrenaline was already kind of pumping because of the surroundings. So then we're on the road, and of course no cops are following us or anything, but we just want to get back to the motel at this point, and it was supposed to be like a 10 to 12 minute drive away. We're joking around about how weird the night has been and following the GPS when all of a sudden we realized we were driving on an interchange we had just driven. And I remember that the GPS said we were supposed to follow signs for 1N. So we take the exit and stop talking and pay more attention to our surroundings. The fog is so thick we can barely see 30 feet in front of us. We take the exit for 1N, take a few turns and directed by the GPS, and suddenly we're back on the highway or highway exchange again. The same exact one we had just been on 4 to 5 minutes earlier. The same sign pointing at the exit for 1N sat in front of us. We flip on our flashers and slow down to about 15 miles per hour and take the same exit once again. A minute or two later, we both realized that the route we were on driving is the same one we just drove a few minutes ago, and at this point we're having major creepy deja vu. There doesn't seem to be any other cars on the roads at all. All businesses we pass are closed. Houses are mostly dark, with no signs of life inside. The whole world is cast in this weird, thick orange air. and we're completely freaked out. I didn't mention that this was the night when the rapture was predicted to occur on May 21st, 2011. So we drove around a bunch more trying to find an alternative route back to the hotel. I swear we went through the same on-off ramp that we had earlier 2 or 3 more times, and somehow we made it back to the hotel, approaching from the opposite direction we should have at 3:30 a.m. We'd gotten lost for 3 hours in this string of identical small sleepy towns on the coastline north of Boston. Either that, or we crossed into a parallel universe for a few hours and eventually seamlessly resurfaced in our usual reality. And that's pretty much what it felt like. It's one of those memories I'll never forget. I still look at the pictures we took from that night every once in a while and reminisce.
Wow.
That was by Glitter Cheese.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, cheese. Cheese Louise. All right, folks, we're going to go to the last break.
Last break.
And we'll get back and
Get back.
talk about some reports from Phantoms and Monsters of all
Phantom
places.
Monsters. Oh, yeah. Speaking of lawn.
Lon making the cut tonight.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Don't go away. back, everybody.
Everybody,
Welcome back.
everybody.
Welcome back. just welcome back. That's it. That's all I got.
Welcome back, Kata.
Welcome back, Kata.
Oh, Mr. Kata.
The Horseshack.
I love that show.
I kind of remember it. I mean, of course, you know, I remember.
really
I remember
that.
pieces of it, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was not really my favorite. But it
Boom,
was-
boom, Washington. Yep, it was a good show.
Okay, well, this is the Paranormal Portal, another good show. And if you're just joining us, well, you missed most of the show. And
You silly Gigi.
oh well,
I haven't seen her yet. So.
yeah, but we love having you here anyway. When you can make it, it's awesome. You guys come in and join us for what you can. The number, if you wanted to call in, I never announced it tonight at all. It's 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. If you want to call in, you can. But we are going to move to some reports now from Phantoms and Monsters. And these are some creature reports. These are some beings that were experienced, from a lizard to a dogman to, I don't know, something else. But let's get to these. Again, special thanks to Lon Strickler for making these available to us to talk about on the Paranormal Portal. But from Phantoms and Monsters, the pulse of the paranormal. Check out the site over here, folks. It's a great site full of claims and investigations and all kinds of stuff going on. And they have their own podcast as well, much like we do on the Paranormal Portal.
TEXAS. TEXAS.
That's Texas, yeah.
Yes.
What?
Rachel says she'll be at her altar later spelling Texas.
Oh.
I'm just helping her get a head start.
Well, there you go. Well done. We're here for you. But Lon has a podcast called Phantoms and Monsters Radio, formerly Arcane Radio, and you can check that out as well. But let's go to the first report over here, and this is from March 18th of 2022. It's a lizard humanoid encountered in Squire Boone Caverns, Indiana. Now, we don't hear a lot from Indiana, so that's kind of nice that Ohio's letting someone else have a turn.
Isn't Erie in Indiana?
Maybe.
Erie, Indiana?
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
What is Erie, though? I mean,
place. Isn't there a place called Erie, Indiana?
right,
Or
but I
that
mean,
just
is there a
Well, it's just Erie. You would think that we would hear about it more often. I guess it's not that kind of Erie. Maybe it's a Van Gogh.
maybe it's not very eerie.
It's a Van Gogh Erie.
Maybe. I see what you did there.
Now
All right, the Van Gogh
Oh,
Erie.
gracious.
Yep, I caught that one. I can catch a few of them. I'm not completely dense here, but lizard humanoid encountered in Squire Boone Caverns, Indiana. Let's see what this one says. It says, on May 2015, I received a telephone message from a woman in Muncie, Indiana. I know where that is. Been there many times. She and a companion had witnessed a frightening and unexplained lizard-like humanoid while touring a cavern in Morrison County, Indiana. I conducted 2 interviews with the witnesses, who I will refer to as Gigi. It's literally what it says, and have listed the events described to me. Gigi is a Dominican national, and her English is fair, so it was a bit of a challenge obtaining the information. Tuesday, August 26, 2014, 2:30 p.m., during a tour at the Squire Boone Caverns in southern Indiana. The witness and her friend were with a group from Muncie, Indiana. The cavern tour was part of the itinerary, and after spending the previous day shopping and touring Louisville, Kentucky, the tour had reached an area with many small underground waterfalls, and there were a few large flat rocks on the right side of the waterfalls, including a few overhangs. Gigi noticed what appeared to be a bright yellow eye shining from under one of the overhangs. She immediately got chills all over her. Her friend asked what she was looking at. So she pointed towards the rocks, and she saw the same eye looking back at her. They stood there for about 5 minutes watching the eye as it appeared and disappeared. They were about 30 feet from the rock, and there was movements as well, but very hard to see because the lighting was dim. When the tour started to move on, Gigi looked back to the direction of the eye and saw something exit from under the overhang, and she briefly stopped and watched. And it crawled out onto the open rock surface and then stood up on its back legs. Almost immediately, it scurried away into another crevice in the rock, and it looked like a lizard of some kind. It had a short tail and was dark in color. The arms and legs were long, almost human-like, and Gigi thinks it was about 1.5 foot in height. So very short, actually. Not necessarily human size. Okay. She quickly rejoined the group, but continued to watch behind her, and her friend did not see the lizard, but she described it to her after they returned to the bus. The friend gave her a lorazepam pill to help her calm down. She was shaking badly, and others on the bus were noticing her. She did not mention what she saw to the other people in the group. The next day, she felt ill, very ill. It may have been from the pill, but she thinks something happened to her physically and mentally because of what she saw. She doesn't think she was supposed to see the lizard being. That is creepy. So, just 1.5 foot. I mean, it's still certainly, if it got up on 2 back legs, is not normal for a lizard, but could it be anything else?
Well, yeah, it could have been the stupid spider from It.
Oh, Jesus. You go from bizarre to just the absurd. I don't think it was probably the It spider. Though that would be creepy. Don't get me wrong. But no, I'm pretty sure they didn't encounter that. But I'm just thinking of any other type of known animals that it could be. And I can't think of anything. So, yeah, I guess it's definitely a cryptid of some kind. The question is how big do they get?
Right.
So is that the baby? Is that a baby that was just like a toddler, and they grow to be like 8 or 10 feet tall, or what are we dealing
8 or
with?
10 feet tall. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, well, you think of like a puppy.
Right.
You can start with this little puppy that'll fit in your hand,
and then it'll eat your hand.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, it's 200 pounds, and it's like a mastiff or something like that. It's like, oh my God.
It's a Neapolitan mastiff.
They grow up. Yeah, they're like the brindle or something. It's like, oh no. They get much bigger. So right. How big do these get? And what is it that she was seeing?
The existential question, how big is big?
Yeah, well, it's a relative concept, Don.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. Yep.
Little innuendo there.
Yep.
For those paying attention.
Oh boy.
Well, it's, some people pay attention. I think some people do, Don. All right.
What?
Yeah, they really do. All right. The next one up on the board is from Phantoms and Monsters as well. And this is hairy, slim cryptid biped encountered at southern Colorado residence. So we're going all the way over to Colorado on this one. And that doesn't surprise me much. I think Colorado has a fair share of lots of weirdness. But let's see what it says. This one is a little bit longer, but not really exhaustive. A man is outside checking his property before going to bed. He encounters a hairy, slim bipedal creature leaning against his car in the driveway.
Wow.
It quickly runs away on 2 legs. Eesh. All right, says this occurred in August 2013 at my home in southern Colorado, and it's around 1 a.m., and I'm sitting in my living room watching television. The Rottweiler's lying next to me on the floor. My wife is sleeping, and all the lights are off. To someone outside, it would seem all were asleep in the house. The TV's in the front of a very large window. The window has a curtain over it, except for one corner at the bottom of the window where the curtain is pulled back so that we can see people stepping onto the porch during the day. While sitting on the couch, again, the exposed portion of the window is very small, and for someone to look inside, they would have to bend down or be extremely short. Suddenly, my Rottweiler raises her head, puts her ears back, shows her teeth, and begins to let out a low growl. She's staring directly at the exposed corner of the window. I mute the TV, and after a minute, her growling becomes snarls. She gets up on all fours, lowers her head, and is still staring at the corner. I quickly grab my 9mm and duck under the TV, slowly make my way to the front door, and I try to listen for any noise, but all I can hear is my very angry dog. After a few minutes of this, I flip on the porch light and look through the front door window. I see nothing. Soon after, my dog chills and all seems to be well. I go to bed, but it's a sleepless night. Fast forward a few nights, my wife is in bed, the Rottweiler's sleeping in the other room, and I'm pulling another late-nighter while watching some mindless garbage on TV. Well, I decide to go to bed, and I before I go, I figure I'll do a quick patrol around ours and the in-laws' property. I grab my mag light, load the Glock, and make my way outside. The moon is out bright, so I leave the porch light off. Once I step on the porch, I notice movement to the right of me, where my driveway and the vehicles are located. I shine my light towards the movement, and I see a large creature / animal next to my car. It's on 2 legs with its arms on top of my car with its back to me. It's brown, hairy, very slim, and lean. Once the light hits it, it rushes off on 2 legs towards the road, hits the pavement, and runs into the woods. All of this without making a sound.
Wow.
Oof. I wasn't able to get a good look at it. My eyes had yet to fully adjust and the whole ordeal only lasted about 5 seconds. I never saw its head or face, but it was completely silent as it ran on gravels, then on pavement, then into the woods. I heard nothing. It's as if it floated into the woods. Considering what happened just the night before, the whole situation made my hair stand on end, and I quickly made my way back inside, and I have no idea what this was. Yikes. Again, this is such a different description. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, just a squatch. Well, it's very skinny. It looked tall, it looked big, but it also looks skinny. So is it an emaciated squatch, or is it something else? And I'm thinking something else, because I think even skeletally, a squatch, if it was just...
Still going to have mass.
Yeah, it's still going to be wide, and it's still going to look like it could be very big, even if it was skinny. I don't know what this person saw. But the fact that it then took off bipedally down gravel and over a paved road and into the woods, well, I assume paved road, but into the woods, and didn't make a sound at all. I mean, I used to run on gravel all the time. I was barefoot all the time when I was a kid.
Right.
And there's a sound to running on gravel. It's like, it's like a sandpaper sound.
Right.
And, it's not without sound. So I don't know how this thing could have ran that distance and made no noise. Wow. Creepy, though. What do you think of that one, Don?
I just love it when it says it makes no noise. And it's like, how? There's no possible way. Even, I don't know. But anyhow, I'm right there with you.
It's just strange. Again, I don't know what he saw. It was hairy.
And it said it got down on all fours?
No, it ran bipedal away.
Bipedally away.
Yeah.
Okay.
It never did. He never did see it on all fours. He saw
gotcha.
it leaning against his car.
Right.
The hands were on top of the car.
And it just took off.
Then it just took off as soon as the light hit it. But yeah, that's really, really weird. And then did it just never come back? Was it like, oh, screw that. Somebody's there. I don't like that. But whatever the case, that is weird. Very strange stuff, folks. But that's the kind of stuff we love here in the portal. We love the strange. We love the unusual. That's why Don and I are such good hosts.
That's right. Because we're strange and unusual.
And Sheldon, too. We're also weird.
There you go.
All right, let's go on to the next one. And this is again from phantomsandmonsters.com. As of March 24th, upright dogman stalked and chased witness through West Virginia woods. Now, I don't know of what would be a worse feeling than that. To be out in the woods, first of all, and then to know that a dog man is chasing you.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine anything more terrifying, Don?
No.
Because you don't know what it wants. You don't know if you're on the menu. Is it because it's hungry? You don't know. It looks like it could eat you. Is it just toying with you? You don't know. I would assume you're going to get eaten. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that it could do. I mean, okay, so we haven't heard any really unpleasant, we haven't heard any overly violent and physical interactions with Dogman.
Right.
Not talking with Vic, not talking with Linda Godfrey,
Yeah.
not talking with the judge. None of these people had these, actual physical contact with these dog people or dogmen.
Right.
And so, it's really strange. It's really hard to not look at it and go, oh my God, I'm going to poop myself because it's going to tear me apart. And then it doesn't. It's like it's just messing with you 99% of the time.
Well, now here's the other side of that, though, is what if those are the stories we don't hear because they don't make it out alive. They just
Right.
go missing.
Well, yeah, that's good point
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So-
Why do you never hear of them? Because they're dead.
They don't survive.
They're gone. They're like puppy chow.
Yep. They're just a coiled steamer out in the woods somewhere.
Coiled steam.
It's Tom Seawood. He
Yep.
always called the coiled steamer. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I would just assume the worst. There's no way I'd be like, oh, dog man. Okay. Well, I'm going to back up slowly here.
Come here, puppy.
Yeah,
Come here.
the key,
You want tummy rubs?
the key is you got to grab a stick and whistle and then throw it and you're fine. Works for all the dogs. No, I don't think that would work.
He's looking at you going, dude, do you think I want the steak?
Yeah.
The stick or a steak?
Yeah.
Kind of mixed up there, buddy.
A West Virginia man is fishing at his favorite spot when he noticed something disturbing him. It turns out that he was being watched by an upright canine, which later chased the witness out of the area. That poor guy. I can't imagine the underwear after he got home. That must have been just that must have just been
whole new pair.
yeah, that was a throwaway. That's a throwaway situation. You don't even try to save them. You just throw them away.
Sleep by the beach.
You just peel them off and just start over. Hit the shower. That is nothing. No reason to try. West Virginia, 2015. The 23-year-old witness, who was anonymous, had decided to partake in some early morning fishing. He got up in the middle of the night and made his way through the woods to his spot. It was a very secluded area, and he managed to catch 3 fish. The sun was beginning to rise, and then he received a phone call from his mom, asking him to pick up her medication before he was done fishing, or after he was done fishing. He hung up and was preparing to throw his line back into the water when he noticed that everything around him seemed to get unnaturally quiet. And Lon says the Oz effect. I'd never heard of that effect name before, but I assume that's when everything just goes dead. Even the crickets don't make noise, I assume.
I didn't know that.
I don't either, but I'm just getting that from context. He thought it was odd, but brushed it off. He threw the line out, and before long, he began to hear water splashing. He asked if anyone was out there, and yet there was no reply. He sat listening and tossing his line again, and he heard the splashing sound again. He surmised that somebody was throwing rocks into the water, and he asked whomever it was to stop playing games. He caught another fish. He took the fish and placed it aside. He then heard the sound of snapping twigs and sticks. Somebody was walking in the woods. It then stopped. He again asked if somebody was out walking and asked them to stop, and again he received no reply. Isn't that when you stop asking? Like
Yes.
If you ask once or twice and you get no reply, then you're done asking, I think. You don't keep doing it so they can zero in on your location really well.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, keep talking, dummy.
Yeah,
talking.
keep asking questions. That's obviously working.
You don't look like a stick.
Yeah, it said, again, he received no reply, and this continued for several minutes. And then he heard it walking once more at a brisker pace, much closer to him. It caught your scent. Yikes. Suddenly, whatever it was became visible to the witness for the first time. He could see one bright yellow eye peeking through the opening in the foliage. The creature then parted the leaves, and the witness observed that it was a gigantic wolf head looking at him.
The nothing.
Oh, no. The witness noted that it looked like a werewolf, and it was like something out of a horror movie. It proceeded to step out from behind the foliage and walked on 2 legs to the water's edge. The witness was in shock. He dropped his fishing rod and just watched the creature as it, in turn, looked over at him. He described that it had a huge head, bright yellow eyes, massive shoulders, long arms that hung down in front, huge hands with claws on the end of each finger, and dog-type canine legs. Terrified, the witness began backing away, leaving his gear and fishing rod, and he quickly made his way back to the trail, and he could hear the thing following him. When he stopped, it stopped. After walking some more, he looked back and observed the creature behind him. It growled at him. Oh, no. In absolute fear, the witness pulled his gun out. He was a licensed gun owner, and began walking backwards. At this point, the creature ran off through the grass. So it recognized the gun, yeah?
Right?
I mean, right? Isn't that what you'd take from that?
That's what I think.
He watched as it entered the tree line and began circling back onto the trail from the other side. The witness could now see the creature ahead of him, coming in his direction.
Whoops.
Oh my God. That is such a nightmare. Sensing he was in great danger,
You think?
that the creature was definitely intending on attacking him, the witness fired his gun 3 times. These were warning shots intended to scare off the beast. It did not seem to deter the creature.
Shoot 3 times in my direction if you want me.
Waste your ammo more, and I'll make it real quick. It did not seem to deter the creature. It continued to walk towards him.
Work, yes.
And so he pointed it at the creature and fired twice. The witness could hear the impact as the bullets connected. The creature stumbled back. To the witness, it seemed more angry than hurt. Eventually, the beast got down on all 4s and ran off into the woods. The witness made it out of the area. It took him nearly 7 years before he was able to discuss what happened. This is transcribed from Marvin Allen Dogman Encounters podcast, episode 120. That is crazy. And Lon says, interesting account, although I wish that there was more specific location information. I've heard of other instances where weapons, namely a firearm, had little to no effect on the cryptid. Taking into account that the witness actually struck the cryptid, one can assume that there are supernatural aspects to these cryptids. Yeah, that is just about as horrible a situation as you can guess.
Yep.
It came out in view of the guy and splashed its hands in the water.
Right?
And then looked over at him. Like, yep, I'm going to wash you first, and then I'm going to chew. I'm going to give you
a giant raccoon.
I'm going to give you a rinse, and then we'll have some fresh meat. Oh, what a horrible, horrible situation.
You always wash your hands before you eat.
No, I just can't imagine the horror of that situation. But I'm glad the guy made it out, but I bet you that was the end of his fishing career. Ever.
Yep.
Or at least that hot spot.
Yeah, no doubt. Ruger says, glad to hear he's permitted. I was almost triggered. Ba-da-ba.
We'll give you a rim shot for that one, brother. You got it. You've earned it. You earned it. That's a creepy, creepy story, though. Man, I don't like those. I don't know what that would feel like, and God willing, I will never know what that's like.
Well, just think about the time you were sure that there was a Bigfoot growling behind you.
Oh, that was
And just
plenty
think about
horrible.
that. Yeah, it's bad enough, right?
I mean, I was absolutely
you
mortified. Yeah, I was helpless. I was absolutely helpless. That was a horrible situation. But the one takeaway is that I didn't see it.
Right.
And I'm really glad I didn't, because I would have been haunted by whatever that looked like. I just, it would have painted my nights in terrors for the rest of my life, probably.
Your night terrors?
Yeah, the rest of my nights and the terrors. Yeah. Yeah, and night terrors as well, for sure. Yep. But whatever the case is, folks, I don't know. Just be careful in those sticks. Whenever you go out in the woods, be extra careful.
Yup.
And if you can, definitely pack some heat. Because it may not have a lot of effect, but it has some effect. I mean, at the very least, it pissed it off, which is a step up of it laughing at you.
Yeah, well, now it knows to keep on the lookout for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, even if it doesn't actually kill the thing, it's got to have a little respect for the fact that, ooh, that stung. Ow.
Yeah.
That hurt. Okay, good. You've got some leverage at that point, but, it's each his own. But, man, wow, that would be the worst.
It would.
But do you realize, Don, we've managed to make it through an entire episode?
We've worked our way through 2 hours.
It's been 2 hours.
Wow.
It's gone so quick. I love that about the show, and I also lament that about the show, because it feels like, wow, we can be done already, can we? Sometimes we get done earlier than we think, but then we're wrong.
Sometimes we just shut down the show. And
we did that one time. We did a show on time slips, and we actually shut the show down a half hour early.
Yep.
Oh, that was hilarious. Oh, good night, everybody. They put in the chat going, wait, it's just the break.
Wait. It's only 8 o'clock. It's only
8:30.
You got another hour. What?
Yeah. Oh, my God. How silly was that?
That was crazy.
That was hilarious. Hilarities. But anyway, folks, there's always a brand new memory to make here on the portal, and you just never know when that's going to happen. So keep tuning in. Keep spreading the word. Keep letting us entertain you We hope that if you're new to the show, that we've earned your subscription. You'll subscribe and become a part of what we're doing here in the portal.
Crazy stuff called the portal.
We don't necessarily know what the hell we're doing, but we have fun doing it. So we'd love for you to be a part of it with us. Don, anything in closing?
Nope. Just remember Teespring and get your stuff there. Elaine and Ghost Magnet, I got your shirts ordered, so they're on their way here shortly. It will still take a while to get there. Ruger, for some reason your shirt still hasn't showed up, partner. I'm working on it, bud. I'm working.
We haven't forgotten.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. Remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night right here, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then.
Good night.